Hey Homeworthy, I'm Jess Druey. We are here in Bakersfield, California, my hometown, and today I'm gonna show you around my apartment, so come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Jess Druey, and I am founder of the wine brand Whiny Baby. We are here in Bakersfield, California, my hometown. I am super passionate about the fact that the suburbs are on the up and up. I was living in LA and decided to move back to my hometown. And one of the many perks of that is that I got to move into a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment all to myself, which has been kind of the canvas for exploring and really getting to decorate an apartment for the first time in my life. As a young entrepreneur, I have been moving a ton and even moved back in with my mom to save money. And in May of this year, I moved into this apartment and finally got to start decorating. I've always wanted to decorate a space, but just haven't been able to because, you know, in your early 20s, you're just like running around trying to figure stuff out. So I was like, it was all in me and I was just ready to go. So picking this apartment was thankfully pretty easy. Bakersfield is a little bit of a small town and this apartment complex is a little bit newer. And one of the many things I love about living in my hometown is that I live in this apartment complex with like 6 of my friends, and throughout the week we pop in and drop off leftovers for each other. We have book club, we'll get each other's mail if we're out of town. And I think that our generation has unfortunately lost a lot of the neighborly community aspects that once were, and I hope we bring it back. So Homeworthy is here today as I am preparing for my best friends to come over in a little bit. Today I am hosting a Galentine's get-together. I am super passionate about hosting, and if you have not read the book, The Art of Gathering, it is like, I have read that book through and through so many times, and there's such amazing tips, but for me, everything is about creating a one-of-a-kind experience. And just like my wine brand, I reimagine how to do things, and you know, there's no way that things have to be done. And so you'll see as I take you through the house that I've set up all sorts of different moments, and I think that the best advice for hosting is you're kind of like a conductor. It is your job to set the tone and set the rules. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds silly, but I really believe it. When someone walks into your home or an event that you're hosting, they're walking into the world that you created. And it's your job to set rules, to give them communication on what they should do. So when your guests, you know, walk through the door, I like to always have a little moment where it's really clear to them, here, grab this glass because we're gonna start with a little bubbly. Or at the table, you know, I always have name settings to make it easy and clarify to people, you know, where they should sit. And I always try to have different activities. And yeah, so today we are having our Galentines, and I'm excited to take you around and show you all the fun things that I have in store. All right, Homeworthy, we are here in my apartment entryway. And like I've said, I really believe that every single space is a moment to make special. And I think that entryways are moments that often get overlooked, but there's so much opportunity in them. So first things first, whenever I'm hosting and I have guests over, I always like for them to walk in, they can put their stuff in this closet, which no need to go in there. But right away, my friends know that they can head over to the wine glass wall and pick out a wine glass. And I love wine glasses that are different colors because it's easy to tell whose glass is who. I think that wine charms are totally coming back in 2025. So I have some fun wine charms that I'll show you in a bit. But I think it's so fun for people to just come in and immediately know the vibe is to put your stuff down, kick off your shoes, grab a glass, because in my apartment, we are always drinking wine, that's for sure. So this piece that we have right here is super special to me because this is another young female entrepreneur artist, and she didn't even know about Whiny Baby, and she posted some of her work on TikTok, and a friend of mine saw it and sent it to me. And so I reached out to her. She was kind enough to give me this print. And of course I sent her some Whiny Baby. But you'll see a theme throughout the apartment that I love artwork, and everything for me is a mix of high and lows, right? I am only 27. I'm not working on a big budget, but I think that true taste is when you have to make something great of not a lot. And I actually think that a big budget and money sometimes inhibits people from getting really creative. So this piece is super special to me, and you'll see throughout the apartment, I've got a mix of Etsy finds, you know, everything from something you could maybe find at Target and Home Goods, but you'll also find commissioned pieces from artists I've found. You'll find thrifted pieces from antique stores. So again, for me, it's all about mixing the high and the low. So I got a little ahead of myself. So for today, we are having our Galentines, and I love setting up a little moment like this. It also helps when you're hosting so that you don't have to constantly be shuffling and refilling drinks. For me, when you are in my apartment, you will never have an empty glass and you will never have an empty stomach. So right away, when the girls walk in, they are gonna have their glass of Whiny Baby, slightly frizzante. This isn't a full sparkling wine, but it has just a kiss of bubbles, which is perfect for our romantic, fun, girly Galentines. So, Homeworthy, you are my guest today as I take you through the Galentines. So let's kick it off with a little bubbly. So, time to move on to my plate wall. So this is a new addition for me, but I'm really, really excited about it. I heard, it's so funny, nowadays you say like, I read this article. I actually think it was a TikTok video recapping an article, but it was about how fast fashion is kind of ruining the whole concept of wardrobes that we hold on to. And people were talking about how when you're a little girl and you get to go through your mom or your grandma's closet and they have pieces that they've kept for years and years. And I'm a super sentimental person. I'm all about keepsakes and special moments. And that of course shines through in Whiny Baby. It shines through in my apartment and really everything I do. And so I started doing this plate wall, and actually this is kind of fun as well. I think single people, I'm not single, but I'm not married, and a lot of my friends are married. And you get to make these beautiful registries, and I always love looking at like the fabulous plates from Neiman Marcus and Bloomingdale's, but in no world can I afford a full set of these fabulous plates. So what's fun about the plate wall is if I see a plate I love, I can afford it because I'm just buying one. But what's special about the plate wall is people have started giving them as gifts to me, and I've started looking for plates everywhere that I travel. It's a true collectible and something I can take with me into the next home I go into. And hopefully one day it's a keepsake that I pass along to my kids and my family. There's tons of fun ones. I think I always change what my favorites are. I think my favorite one right now is this little guy that says Sweet Spot, and he kind of looks like my boyfriend with a mustache. So I'm in a long distance relationship, so the little reminders are nice, but that is my plate wall. One quick mention is, again, with the high and lows, I think that it's so easy now to slightly enhance things just by customizing them. So I found these at Home Goods, but they had really tall white stained wood that I just felt didn't go really with that more classic style. When I can, I really love dark washed wood. And so I just found these wood legs on Amazon and I swapped them out, and I just think it's so important to mix and match, and it's so fun to curate things and really, really make them your own. I have always been, you know, a super hard worker, super career driven, but I by no means growing up was one of those people who was dead set on, I am meant to be an entrepreneur. I was living in LA working at Red Bull. I didn't know it at the time, but you know, Red Bull's the greatest beverage marketer of our generation, and it was really priming me for launching my wine brand. And how Whiny Baby started was I found myself in a position that I think a lot of other people find themselves in. I had a first date. I was 22 years old at the time, and he said, I'll cook for you, you bring a bottle of wine. And I stood in the wine aisle and I realized, oh my gosh, I really don't know anything about wine. I don't know what a varietal is. I don't know what bottle to grab right now. And the rest is history. That night, I was more focused on the bottle of wine than I was my date. And I sat there thinking about the natural elements that drinking wine already does. It brings you together, it creates conversation, it makes memories. And so I came up with fun little details like conversation starters underneath each bottle cap, and peel and stick savable back labels to keep all of the memories that you make. And today I'm 27 years old and Whiny Baby is on store shelves across the country like Target, Bevmo, Total Wine and more, and we are just getting bigger. And it's pretty crazy to think that it all began because I had an idea and an experience that I knew others had as well, and saw a need for the wine industry to have a bit of innovation and do a better job of speaking to younger consumers and Gen Z. I would say my home decor style is first and foremost maximalist. I think I self-identify as a maximalist, but it is met with a little bit of grandmillennial, and I don't know if this is a home decor style, but a little bit of English countryside. I follow a ton of interior accounts of amazing interior designers that are based in the UK, and a lot of them explore colorful but kind of classic patterns, which I'm super drawn to. It's so hard to pick a favorite room because part of maximalism, or at least the way I express maximalism, is every room, every corner is its own kind of moment, and they're all very different. But surprisingly, I think my favorite room is the one that I didn't even think I was going to decorate. It's my guest bathroom. It's probably my favorite because I did it the most recent, but why I love it so much is I had an extra tight budget on it. I thought that I wasn't even going to decorate it because I had put so much work in the past couple months for the rest of the apartment that I thought I was gonna kind of take a breather. But I thought, you know what? I really, really want this space to kind of match the rest of the apartment and have more life to it. And I super on a budget found amazing peel and stick wallpaper. I went antiquing and found affordable, insane finds. And sure enough, it's become one of my favorite, if not my favorite space now in the house. Now we are going to head into the kitchen/living room. Come with me. All right, we are here at my bar cart situation, and if I'm being honest, I think this is my favorite thing in the entire home. Like I mentioned, I love art, but I really love special, unique art that is really personal to me. So as you can see, should I pour my heart out to him? No, darling, we only pour Whiny Baby. I mean, this is the most iconic, most me painting ever, and the artist is Brett Hammond. What I love so much about it is we sparked a genuine just friendship. I saw his work in Montecito near Santa Barbara, and he had a lot of wine themes to his art. And I followed him on Instagram and we just started talking back and forth. He grew up in wine country and that's why he has such a connection. He is a big fan of Whiny Baby, and never in a million years did I dream that I could commission a piece from him, but he was kind enough to work with me on this. And I remember thinking, I could buy a handbag, a really nice handbag, or I could buy a piece of art. And for me, I would much rather buy a piece of art. So again, for me, this is something I will have for my whole life. I hope it's something that my kids want someday, and it's just such an iconic statement piece. And I work from home, so I love sitting and taking meetings at my dining room table, and this being the backdrop. It's an amazing conversation starter. And like I said, I think it's so special to have a friendship and really know the artist who made it. It makes it all the more special. So shout out Brett Hammond. You should check out his work. He is amazing. Again, like I said, everything on here is a total mix of high, low gifts that people have given me. And I think that's what makes everything so special. I said in the beginning that I really think a lot of my taste is maximalism, but also a little bit of grandmillennial, traditional, and also a little bit of that English countryside, like I said. So I actually want to talk about this. I spent Christmas this year in London. I met my boyfriend while I was in London, actually filming Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars. You should definitely watch it on Hulu if you haven't. But that is how I met him, and his sister lives in London. So we went and we spent Christmas with her and his family, and she gave this to me, and she found it in the English countryside at a thrift store. And my favorite part is these little tongs that are little chicken legs. So again, I love everything to have a special story. These are really, really special to me. My best friend is getting married this year at the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo. Again, iconic. She herself is also a maximalist. And when she asked me to be in her wedding as a bridesmaid, she asked with these gorgeous glasses that are from the Madonna Inn. So many different special things. I want to point out this, who actually my old boss turned amazing friend, Kelly. She was my boss at Red Bull, but I think I mentioned this space is so special to me because in your early 20s, you're just trying to figure it out. Like the last thing you have time for is nesting. And up until this year, I DoorDashed every meal. I didn't live in a decorated space. I just didn't have time for it. And as an entrepreneur, I still don't have a lot of time, but I knew that working from home, having a space like this would only help my work, only make me more inspired. So I have several things that people have given me over the years that I just held on to because I really didn't have a space that I could display and decorate with yet. And so stuff like this was gifted to me when I was 22, and I held on to it, and now I finally get to have it out, and it's just so special. So we've got my fridge, which not super exciting, but again, I feel like every single part of your house is a canvas and open space for you to create and speak and say something. This cracks me up because every time I have people over, and if it hits 9, they check in with me and they're like, can we still stay? Of course they can, but I am kind of a grandma and I really do kind of want people to leave by 9. So it does kind of serve a purpose as well. Admittedly, I normally have this completely covered in pictures, but also Christmas cards. I keep up my Christmas cards year round because I love seeing my friends and family, and I want them to be everywhere, and it just makes me so happy. I did remove them for this because, I didn't get their sign off to show them. However, I still have really special things up here, postcards that are meaningful to me, and I just think every space should reflect the person who lives there. Everything is high and low, renter friendly. So that means, yes, design, but you also need function. So over here, I have these super handy little shelves that are magnetic, just super functional. And then so that's kind of like the low, right? And then the high, you know, if you know about match silver, it like one day when I get married, I want my whole registry to be match silver. I think it's so beautiful, so classic. But as we know, it's not really budget friendly. So, you know, while I couldn't afford much, I could afford this super chic little salt holder. And I am a firm believer that everyone needs flaky salt in their kitchen. It makes everything better, but it's also just kind of chic. Like, we'll get to it, but I always try to have cookies in my dessert jar. I did not make them myself. I just, you know, did the frozen ones and pop them in the oven, but sprinkle them with flaky salt, game changer. And people are like, oh my gosh, these are the best cookies ever. I didn't even make them. I just put flaky salt on them. So besides lighting, color, paint, patterns being the things that I think transform space, I also think playing with height really helps. So if I'm picking out things, or having florals, playing with height and making things oversized, but then, you know, really petite, I think really adds. So different elements, different heights, different colors and whatnot. This is a super small, silly thing, but I'm very passionate about it. So a Google Home or an Alexa, I'm not playing music right now, but I play music all day long. And when I'm hosting, I have obviously my main hub out here, but in every single room, every single bathroom, every single corner for like, I think they're like $30. You can get the mini ones and they're all synced. And it's just a small thing that anyone can do that really makes your apartment feel luxurious. When someone goes to the bathroom and in the bathroom, the music that was playing in the living room is still playing in there. It's just those little touches that I really feel transform a space. My beloved Le Creuset. So in Bakersfield, like 30 minutes out of town, we have a Le Creuset outlet. If you are anywhere near a Le Creuset outlet, go, go, go. Picking out your Le Creuset color is something that is almost spiritual. So to me, Le Creuset is something that you will keep for a lifetime and pass on to your kids. And that's just really special to me. So there's little things like that that I love to implement that I may have not necessarily had in my life, but I saw friends of mine whose parents had Le Creusets and what color they chose was so special. So I saw that, I thought it was so special. And admittedly, I'm not a very good cook and I've been trying this year to cook a lot more. And thankfully my best friend and my boyfriend are amazing cooks. And they told me, if you have these two things, you can really cook anything. And so it actually saved me money because with just two things, you can cook most of the things you need. So pick out your Le Creuset color, find an outlet, and slowly collect your colors. It's so fun because they come out with like special items and finding out if it's in your color or not. It's the little things in life, you know? This was an Etsy find and I think it is so gorgeous. That is all that needs to be said. So Etsy, Etsy, Etsy is my favorite. These, again, with the little nods to the UK and London. I forget her last name, but it's Addison something. All of her homeware is so cool. And I loved that it kind of went with my Le Creuset color theme. So again, highs and lows. I think there's something so chic about always having cookies, fresh cookies. Like I said, these are frozen ones. Again, another amazing female entrepreneur. Shout out, it's Sweet Lauren. If you haven't had these, they're like the best frozen cookies ever. But sprinkle them with that flaky salt and, you know, get a little dessert tray, order some doilies from Amazon, and it's just chic and it feels fabulous. As a wine entrepreneur, like 80% of my life is hosting and wine, and in that I have navigated the best way while hosting to keep your wine chilled. So all of Whiny Baby wines are meant to be served chilled, even our red. I know, a little funky, but I just love chilled wine and I think it makes it a little bit more approachable, especially for people who are a little scared of reds. But a fun little hack is this entire sink is not filled with ice. A fun little tip and trick is that this sink is actually not entirely filled with ice. That would have taken many, many bags. So what you do is just flip over a big bowl and flip it face down and then fill it with ice. And that kind of goes around all the circles, and that kind of covers more space, and then you don't really need that much ice. But why I love this sink trick is beyond it looking gorgeous and being a great way to display our Whiny Baby wines, is it is a lot more practical if you are serving wine that should be chilled versus swapping it in and out of the fridge. And I have gorgeous, super cute, little wine chillers, but they only hold a bottle of wine. And if your friends are like my friends, we are definitely drinking more than a bottle of wine. So the sink hack, I think, is a fun one. It's easy, it's practical, but it also looks really fabulous. This is another UK artist. So obsessed with her. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like foil art, and it says, less assumptions, more curiosity. And I just love that so much. And our last little nook over here, if it were up to me, this whole kitchen would be like open cabinets because I love displaying dishware. I love collecting dishware. These are really cute little Le Creuset special edition fruit bowls that my best friend got me. Super special, but again, I like everything to be a moment. And I noticed that when my friends were coming over, they would often have leftovers they were taking with them, or, little treats. So today for the Galentine's party, I have these candy jars that are for aesthetics because they look super cute. I thought it would be cute for my friends to be able to come over, take a little goodie bag to go, fill it up with candy for their Uber ride home. Like I said, I think that every single space is an opportunity to create a moment and a special experience. Peel and stick wallpaper and paint change everything. I know that a lot of people can't paint. I was fortunate enough that I could. So I would say if you can do peel and stick wallpaper, it can get really expensive, but if you hunt, the peel and stick wallpaper in my guest bathroom, I found on Amazon, and it was a collab with Chris Loves Julia. Super affordable, super gorgeous. But probably my favorite renter-friendly hack is lighting. I think that lighting transforms every space, adding wall sconces and a chandelier in your living room, or even a shade in your hallway can completely change the space. And I think a lot of people don't do that when they're renting because they think that everything needs to be hardwired. And actually, the chandelier that is above my dining room table was meant to be hardwired, but we just put it up in there, cut off all the wires, and then put in battery operated lights where a light bulb should be. And so there's so many amazing options now for chargeable lamps and chargeable lights so that you don't have to hardwire, and it's super renter friendly. All right, it is now time to head into the living room. Let's go. So like I said, I don't believe there are any rules, and if you get inspired to do something fun, you should definitely do it. This is not normally sitting here, but when I was preparing for the Galentine's Day, I saw it. It's meant to be a planter, but I filled it with ice, and I thought, how fun for Galentine's to have a unique and different little wine chiller. So, like I said, and if you need a refill, let me know. So, this is a lot of people's favorite part of my house, my beloved wine wall. I'm a wine entrepreneur. Of course I need a wine wall. Wine is so special because it is in and of itself a collectible, even if it's, high and low. Wine can be amazing at $10 a bottle, and it can be amazing at $100 a bottle. And I started Whiny Baby because I felt that the industry needed something more approachable, more fun. And I believe that you can make seriously delicious wine without taking yourself so seriously. So there's all sorts of amazing different wines up here. And the cool thing about wine is it's an amazing experience, obviously, that you share with others, but also it's a lifelong journey with yourself. I am still learning every single day about wine. And the only way that you'll learn more is by drinking it. And thankfully, that's a fun thing to do. But again, it can be intimidating. There's so many different grapes and varietals, and it can be, it can feel kind of pretentious, but I promise it's not. At the end of the day, a good bottle of wine is what you think is good. If you like it and you think it's tasty, great, that's a good bottle of wine. And what's so fun about it is it's kind of like music. You will have a new favorite song, maybe for life or maybe for, you know, that month. And I think that people should think of wine kind of like a music playlist, right? And, oh, this is what I'm drinking this month. But also, I like to think of wine as an accessory, not only to you and your outfit, but for the evening. So certain bottles of wine, you know, pair best with kind of a more sultry mood, or some are just meant for fun and conversation with your girls. And I just really think that wine is life's best accessory. Cheesy, I know, but I really do believe it. So on this wine wall, I want to point out, beyond all the amazing wines, what's really special, all my children lined up here. It will only grow over time and get bigger and bigger, but these are the first Whiny Baby bottles that I ever made when I was 22 years old. And it's just so cool to see how the brand has evolved over time. And I'm so excited to see what's next for Whiny Baby. And we're gonna have to get longer shelves. All right, let's head into the living room, which is literally right here. So it makes it really easy. I love my living room. It is where all my hosting happens, so many game nights, so many fun memories, but it was also the first space that I really decorated. So I'm really proud of it. So there are so many different elements to talk about, but I think we should probably start with the elephant in the room, the fact that it is February and I still have my Christmas tree up. So this was my first Christmas tree this year, and I decorated it so fabulous. And it just added so much to the space. And January is such a dreary month that I got back from the holidays and I just couldn't bear to take my tree down. And like I said, I kind of approach everything like I approach wine, like I approach this apartment. There are no rules. So I was sitting there thinking, I don't want to take it down yet. It adds so much joy and warmth in the month of January, but it also didn't sit right with me to have, you know, the Christmas decor up. So I asked around, posted on Instagram, and so many people, I actually was surprised because I don't know anyone who does this, but I guess there is a community of avid celebrators like myself who keep their Christmas tree up, but they redecorate it for every holiday. So this was so fun. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it, but I just think it's so important because I remember being 22 and being like, oh my gosh, I wanna decorate, but I can't afford it. And high and low. So most of this stuff is from Amazon or from an antique store that I found. And I just got to redecorate it and make my Valentine's tree. I am not sure if I'm going to keep it up past Valentine's Day, but I really just think it adds so much to the space. First of all, the iconic bow is made by someone here in town who does tree decorating. She worked with me on my Christmas tree and I sent her all sorts of inspo, and one of them was these anthropology bows, and she's like, I can make that myself. So she made it herself. So cool, so iconic. And then again, when I went out thinking I could buy things from stores, everything was so expensive. And so I scoured Amazon, I scoured Etsy, I scoured thrift shops, and came up with this. Again, play with colors, play with size. Like, I think what makes the whole tree is these huge roses. They're so cool. But my favorite little part is these vintage little Valentines. They're super cute, and when we get over to the Tablescape, I have a little nod to vintage Valentines as well. So I think it's fun to kind of connect the story and connect different elements throughout the home. I think my favorite thing that anyone has ever said when they come in my apartment is they feel like they're in a different world, and that is music to my ears. I want people to feel like they're in a transformed space. I want them to not think about their work or want to be on TikTok. I want them to be present in the moment and make memories. And I just think it's so special to create a world of your own. And so welcome to my world. So if we take a step in, there's so much. This couch is probably the biggest purchase I've made so far in my life. So I love it so much. It was so important to me to have something big and comfy. And honestly, it's amazing if you even need to sleep there. So great for guests and hosting. I try to think through the guest experience, again, just like my wine. Every single detail, I'm thinking through how people are experiencing it. And so there's all these little things. These are actually, I can't tell you the amount of people who have come over and been like, wait, I need these. I have tons of these. And when I'm hosting, I put even more out because I realize, oh my gosh, people come, they sit down and they don't have anywhere to put their glasses or their food and all that. So Zara Home is slept on. It is so amazing. Definitely check it out. These are Zara Home, as are these little ottomans. So these little ottomans are also from Zara Home. But again, I just try to think through the entire guest experience. And I realized the only bummer about this couch was that it didn't have, gosh, I don't even know what it's called, like the end parts where you can put your feet. So obviously needed an ottoman. And again, they're used so much. I also love, so like I said, you will never be thirsty. You always have a full glass in my apartment and you will never be hungry. So after my guests come in with their little glass, they take a seat here. They can enjoy a little appetizer, a little olive tapenade. And then these are super special to me. My best friend got these for me for Christmas. They say Jess's Wine Bar, which this is kind of like my own wine bar. Again, with the highs and lows, I own like 4 of these Amazon silver trays. You throw a little linen napkin on top and I think it looks really elevated. Maybe it doesn't. I think it does. And it's just fun to add a little elevation and a little luxury to your everyday, but it's luxury that anyone can afford and anyone can do. Like I said, having good taste has nothing to do with your budget. I think this coffee table is so cool, so gorgeous. $200 from Wayfair. Like, are you kidding me? Frame TV, obviously a splurge. Life-changing though. I'm kind of bummed. We may have to do a part 2 of the apartment because it is not ready yet. It is a work in progress, but I'm working with someone who is building me an awning to cover this ugly air conditioning. So stay tuned because it's gonna be really fabulous, but I think this is like a renter, what's the word I wanna say? A renter challenge is things like this that I have no control over it. And it's kind of an eyesore, but we're gonna forget about it and follow up for the fabulous awning that is coming. But my gallery wall, I think a lot of people get intimidated to make gallery walls and I don't blame you, but I have some fun hacks that will make it really easy. So first of all, there's a bunch of different Etsy artists that I found. First and foremost, if you can scour Etsy and really find amazing original art, I think that's always the best way to go. But then again, high and low, if you want to make things really simple, the easiest hack ever is go on Etsy, find prints. So like this is an original piece of art that had to get shipped to me. But Etsy has all sorts of art prints that you just digitally download. So a bunch of these are, some of them are different art prints that I found on Etsy. I downloaded them, and then here's the hack. If you're lazy on a budget and want to put together an apartment like this in, when was May? Like 5 months. I download the Etsy art. Then I go on my Target app and I see what frames are available at the Target near me and what sizes they are. Then I go over, I take my digital downloads, I size them to fit the frames that are available at Target. I click pick up order, and then I download the images, that same size, go on my CVS Minute Photo app, and put in the prints. You can have yourself a gallery wall in one day. So that's a fun hack. But it'll be even better if you add in all sorts of curated things as well. So I love my gallery wall so much. Every single piece is so special and important to me. And of course, the special moment from this year, winning Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars for Team Lisa Vanderpump, who Lisa Vanderpump is also a maximalist, self-proclaimed through and through. So obviously one of my favorite life moments. I think there's like a trend going on right now called intentional clutter. And someone actually called Whiny Baby packaging, I think they called it like intentional chaos or something. And my initial reaction was like, oh, like I hate that. But if this is an intentional clutter, I'll take it because I like it. It's my clutter. I think my favorite thing in the apartment is a tie between my Whiny Baby art piece and these chairs. Anthropology, I had wanted them for so long and never could afford them, never had really even a space for them. And thank goodness they stayed on Anthropology for like years. When I could, these were like the first thing I ordered, and I didn't even worry about if they would go. I think a lot of people are afraid of color and pattern. I clearly am not. I actually find the more color and the more pattern, you'll also see I mix like wood. I've got light wood, I've got dark wood, I've got brown, I've got black. I have just found the more you add, the more it will all eventually go. And it does take a bit of curating and swapping, but I mean, there's certain things that are neutrals to me, and patterns like this and leopard are a neutral in my opinion. So I will have these forever. I think they're gorgeous, and when I can no longer use them as a chair, I'm gonna take the fabric and, I don't know, make a dress out of it. I think it's so gorgeous. So after we've spent some time hanging in here, it is time to head over to the dining room table, and we're not having a full dinner tonight for this Galentine's. We're having girl dinner, charcuterie, and that is plenty, and it's gonna be fabulous, and I can't wait to show you how I have made the Tablescape extra special. Come on. I'm so excited to show you today's Tablescape for the Galentine's party. I really believe that table settings, tablescapes, is like an art form, and it's a true labor of love. People do not understand why a tablescape may take so long, but for me, I am scouring and searching for specific dishware to fit the theme. I'm looking for special linens or plates, and then as I've said, and as you will see, it really is a theme for my whole life. It's a theme for my business. I really try to make it a special experience for my guests. So I'm going to show you a little bit about each place setting and today's tablescape. First of all, this, like I mentioned, is renter friendly. This is a normal chandelier, light fixture, whatever you want to call it, but we cut the hard wires and put it up there, and then I don't have them on right now, but there are lights in here that are battery operated, so it's renter friendly. But even that, just sticking this above, I always get the comment that my apartment feels like a house, and I love that because it should. And I think it's little touches like that that make people feel like they're in an actual home. This I just saw on Pinterest and thought it was so cute. I played around with a ton of different, little things to hang from here, but I think the ribbons are just simple and really add a lot, again, with height and different colors. It really ties everything in. So these are Anthropology, nothing crazy. So these were a super exciting find, and I always have these on my table. Again, I feel like they really elevate things. Why they're so amazing though is I found these for like 99 cents at a Goodwill. Do not sleep on Goodwill, and do not only go to trendy thrift stores and antique shops, because really most of what you're finding there is something that other people have found at Goodwill. And I think the fun of homemaking is taking the time. It's like a scavenger hunt to find things, and it's just so fun. It's like a game. I think this isn't really a hack, but everyone should know, you should always have bud vases on hand. Florals are so expensive and overwhelming, but I actually prefer bud vases because I think they just look really chic and simple. So that's what we have here today. These are not fake flowers, these are real. And if you can't tell, ranunculus are like my favorite flower. So each place setting, let's get into it. Again, it's just such a labor of love creating this moment. I am very passionate that there should always be name cards, there should always be assigned seating. I really believe that as a host, it is your job to make your guests comfortable, and part of that is communicating the flow. I clearly am a very outgoing personality, and so when I started hosting Whiny Baby events, I started, meeting people that I wasn't necessarily immediate friends with or that I didn't know, but that I was hosting them at this event. And I would watch how, if they didn't know people, how they'd interact. And I realized it's the job of the host to create that interaction, to create that communication, because not everybody's going to feel comfortable doing it naturally. So I always like to play with the table setting. I only have 4 guests tonight, so they all know each other. Nothing crazy there. But when you are hosting more people, and especially people that may not know each other, I think the table setting and where people sit is another opportunity to create a fun and special moment. So these super cute little Valentine's placemats are vintage Etsy finds. I think Etsy may be my #1 place that I find home stuff. Surprisingly, these are gorgeous plates that I found on Revolve. So I don't know what it is, but Revolve, H&M, Zara, Tuckernuck, St. Bernard, all these places that I would normally shop for clothing carry really fabulous homeware now, which is exciting. These are so fun, and I'm so excited about these. So again, with the high and low, I don't remember where these were from, but these are from a boutique. These were a little bit more pricey, but each place setting has my guest's name written on the heart. But then why I'm getting so giddy is I was up north in Sonoma area last weekend, and I went antiquing, and I found these vintage Valentines, and they're each so funny. I'll show you each one because I just thought they were too cute. They were like, I think I got them for like $5. There was a ton of different ones, but they're like actual, I have no idea what year they are from. Maybe it says, but I just thought they were so cute and so fun to have at each person's place setting. They're super funny. They're very camp. I guess camp might be another word that I would use to describe my taste. So back to the place setting. My love language, if you haven't taken your 7 love languages test, I think that everyone should know their love language, and how I express love is gift giving. I think it's so thoughtful. And to me, the best kind of gift is something you would actually want to receive. And so I just thought, keep it simple. If you have not tried Rare Beauty blushes, they're life-changing. So I got each of my girls a cute little Rare Beauty blush for their little Valentine's Day gift. Again, it's small, but it's thoughtful, and people get so, who doesn't love gifts? It's just adds to the moment, and it's so fun to see your friends get excited. And my favorite kind of parties are like the favorite things parties, so love doing that. Okay, these are so fun. I got these at a local home store here in town called House of Mosley. They actually have a website as well that you should check out, but they do an amazing job of curating. And if you like Mackenzie Childs, they're like Mackenzie Childs everything. So very over the top, very maximalist. Maybe that's where I got some of my taste, because growing up, I would always ask my mom if we could go to House of Mosley. It felt so fabulous and over the top. Okay, I'm very excited about this because in a moment, we're gonna do a little bit of wine pairings. So we already had our rosé. We still have to go through our white wine and our red wine. All my wines are blends. Before we get to that, we will be using this for our red wine, and I won't spoil the surprise, but these were a vintage Etsy find, so chic, and I don't want to spoil it, but we may be having a little ice cream treat in here. So I thought that these were absolutely gorgeous, and they came with these vintage spoons. I'm so in love with these napkin holders. Again, I'll keep these forever. I think they add a lot, and they kind of go with everything. Okay. Again, this was actually another Revolve find. Super cute. I think it's Furbish Studio. A lot of stuff is Furbish Studio. They have amazing patterns. This is another Sonoma County Sebastopol find. I am madly in love. You can't tell, but these are really heavy. But I found these beautiful silver wine glasses and I just fell in love and I added on, I think these are from Bloomingdale's. Wine charms are so back and I think I need to come out with a line of wine charms for Whiny Baby because they're not only adorable and amazing accessories, they're practical. My friends are constantly mixing up whose glasses are whose. So that's why I implemented the colorful wine glasses. And then I really started getting a bunch of wine charms. But I mean, is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? Oh, obsessed. And that is the Tablescape. So why don't we head over here to the charcuterie and get into our wine pairings. All right, so once everyone has taken their seat, they can dive in. I love making charcuterie boards, and admittedly, I thought about purchasing one, but I thought, absolutely not. It's a form of expression. And again, to me, a good charcuterie board has lots of different colors, lots of different options, but also plays with height. And so that's why I loved incorporating these vintage. I had extra of the vintage little dessert cups, so I used those. There's a variety of everything. And obviously the best place to go is Trader Joe's. They have an amazing cheese selection. But also, I secretly like having my friends over and making charcuterie boards because it's an excuse to buy all the new Trader Joe's snacks. They have like the craziest selection of snacks. So you will really find all the latest Trader Joe's snacks that I selfishly wanted to try out. So these are obviously great. People can just dig in, no fuss. No need to do a whole big dinner. But let's get into the wine pairings. So wine pairings, first of all, I started Whiny Baby because I did not know about wine. And thankfully, I have amazing partners who are winemaking experts. And I really get to be the translator for what Gen Z and what people, not just Gen Z, everybody, but anybody who's new to wine and doesn't know much, I get to translate kind of what they're looking for. So Whiny Baby has 3 blends, a white blend, a rosé blend, and a red blend. The blends are to make it more approachable, easily drinkable. And when you have a blend, it makes the wine a little bit more complex, a little bit more round, a little bit more balanced. So that being said, although I'm gonna show you some fun pairings for the wines, what's great about Whiny Baby wines is you can really pair them with anything. They are easily drinkable, fruit forward, juicy, but not these crazy sugar bombs by any means. They are really beautifully balanced with acidity. And like I said, you can make seriously delicious wine without taking yourself so seriously. So let's pop open our gorgeous white blend. I'm actually gonna get one that's a little bit colder. Again, I love the sink hack. It's awesome. Our white blend is predominantly Riesling and Chenin Blanc. And this really, like I said, it can be paired with anything, but my favorite way to pair it today is with this rosemary Asiago cheese. Asiago is really tangy and nutty, and our white blend, we like to call it, it tastes like a fruit cocktail, like fruit cocktail juice. So peach, pear, pineapple, it's just refreshing and juicy. And the balance of the tang and the nuttiness and the Asiago cheese, perfection. So while the girls tonight are enjoying their grazing board, they will be sipping on their Whiny Baby white blend because it really, I mean, pairs perfectly with all of these things. So cheers. I mean, I'm biased, but it's perfection. Never gets old, so refreshing. But my favorite part, one of Whiny Baby, is when we pop open that cap, we've got a surprise conversation starter. So, Homeworthy, here is our Whiny Baby conversation starter. What book are you reading right now? I will answer as well. My friends and I just started a book club this year, super excited, and we are reading The Vacation Problem, or no, Paradise Problem. Vacation Problem or Paradise Problem. Loving it, a little rom-com, and that's what I'm reading right now. Pairing wine and food sounds really intimidating. It's really not, and it's actually a fun adventure. You just take a bite, chew it, have the wine, and see if you like it and see what it does. And it's actually fascinating. When you play with sweet food or salty food and dry wine and sweet wine, you'll see it really does affect the flavor or the acidity and the juiciness in your mouth. But I love cheese. I could like eat cheese for every meal of the day. Super tangy, super tart. That's my nutty, tart, tangy. That's how I want my cheese. And then it's really insane how food and wine complement each other and how food can totally expand and bring out different flavors in wine. That is delicious. Try this pairing. Whiny Baby white blend and rosemary Asiago cheese from Trader Joe's. So I could sit here with you all day, Homeworthy, and have this grazing board and drink wine, but we got stuff to do. So although this would happen later in the evening, we're gonna skip right to dessert. This is my favorite Whiny Baby pairing, hands down. So we are gonna grab our red blend. I'm biased, I do have a favorite child. It is our red blend. A lot of people are afraid of red wine or think they don't like red wine. If you think you don't like red wine, you've not had Whiny Baby. This tastes like literal fruit punch. It is delicious. It's predominantly Zinfandel and Merlot. So you really just get these bright, ripe, juicy cherry flavors. I'm obsessed. It's my favorite thing to drink. But what we're gonna do, super fun, get a really good quality vanilla ice cream. This is from Dewar's, a Bakersfield staple. If you ever visit Bakersfield, you gotta try Dewar's. Dewar's and Luigi's are our claim to fame. So we are just gonna take an itty bitty little scoop of really yummy vanilla ice cream. We're gonna open up our red blend. If your mouth is not watering, I'm telling you, gotta go to the store and grab some Whiny Baby. It is the perfect event, date night, girls' night. It's just the perfect wine. I'm biased, okay? So we open it up, gotta do our conversation starter. Best pickup line. I think actually when people are like, wait, I know you from somewhere. That's like, it kind of trips you up. You're like, wait, do I know this person? I think that's a good pickup line. I don't know. I don't really use, maybe no one's used one on me. I don't know. Okay, this is the fun part, you guys. The vanilla with the cherry. This is like a cherry vanilla Coke. It's delicious, okay? You're gonna have to try this. You just do a little splash or a lot, honestly, and that just like marinates in there. I know you're thinking, what the heck are you doing? You guys, this is combo of a lifetime. And honestly, I'm a sprinkles girl. I'm mad that I don't have any. I'm gonna get in here. We're gonna try this. This is the perfect, cutest little dessert ever. Okay. Gotta get the perfect bite. Insane. Wow, now I wanna just sit here and eat that. Before we head into the guest bathroom, I forgot. Remember I said there's nods to little chili peppers everywhere. I did not make these, but I walked into my local bakery today and they had these little chili pepper Valentine's cookies. Are you kidding me? Adorable. All right, let's go to the guest bathroom. Like I said, this has quickly become like my favorite space in the house and you'll see why. All right, welcome to my guest bathroom. Like I said, I was working on a really tight budget and this was such a labor of love and so fun putting together. And it honestly turned out better than I ever imagined. It's like my favorite space right now. So like I said, I found this wallpaper. It's funny, this was not the wallpaper I wanted. I wanted martini wallpaper, but that was like $250 a roll. Not budget friendly. So I found this. This was on Amazon and it's a Chris Loves Julia collab. And so this is what I could afford and I liked it. And so I went with it and now I couldn't even imagine any other wallpaper. I love the moodiness. This and this are both vintage finds that I again found in Sonoma. Love it. And I always think it's just nice to give your guests, you know, fancy hand soap and little things like that that make their experience better. Pookie Lights is an incredible company, and they are all they are all chargeable lights, and the charge lasts for a really long time, and there's not a lot of not plug in the wall options for lamps, and they have such a beautiful selection. Like I said, cheetah leopard print is a neutral in my house, so that is a neutral. Not much to say here, just love it so much. And little things like this is just something you can find on Amazon, but it adds so much. If you've not heard of Wheezy towels, it's an amazing brand. And I think that like bathroom small trash cans are kind of tricky and can really downgrade the space. And Wheezy has these super cute prints that match, and it definitely does not take away from the space. It adds so much. And then over here, not much to mention, except this was on my wish list for so long. I want it in my bathroom, but it's about the guests. It's about the hosting experience. This is the world's chicest hand soap. I forget the name of the company, but if you need to buy hand soap, get this. There is like a trend right now. I'm obsessed with it. I'd like to explore it more in my own business, but items used as not only the product, but also decor. So like this is not just hand soap to me. This is in and of itself a beautiful piece of decor. This is the world's greatest vintage thrift store find. This gorgeous piece of art was $30. I'm telling you, why would you go and get a piece of art that everyone else has? The rush I felt when I found this, I mean, it's indescribable. Something a little bit unique, or I don't know if it's unique, maybe it's not, but I just hated the look of bath mats. I feel like, again, it kind of downgraded the space. And so both in my guest bathroom and my own bathroom, which I will show you in a moment, I have like a runner rug that takes up most of the space. And I just think it makes it like more cohesive and so much prettier than a bath mat. So with that, I think it's time that we head to my bedroom. Woo, let's go, Valentine's Day. All right, welcome to my bathroom. It definitely doesn't normally look this clean. I normally have makeup and hair stuff everywhere, but I tidied up a little bit for you. I think the best things to point out are, one, this is that Etsy, Target, CVS photo hack. Had a gorgeous piece of original art in a day, battery operated lights, and a super easy shelf. I think it adds so much. This is definitely my favorite paint color in the entire apartment. I honestly would have maybe even done my living room this color. I love the green, but oh, this color, I think it's called like bratwurst or something funny like that, but I love it. This I'm super passionate about because I feel like showers, especially in rentals, cannot feel very luxurious. And so it may not seem like much, but waterproof, battery operated, or actually rechargeable lamps to really set the vibe. And then these are my favorite thing. Again, Amazon, you stick them in here and it just looks, it feels like I'm in a hotel, and it saves you that clutter of shampoo bottles, and it just makes everything nice. Again, it's super easy to switch out a shower head, and it's renter friendly, and I think it really transforms the space. As a business owner, I'm really passionate about emerging brands, and one of the things that I think we're gonna start seeing a lot more of, like I said in there, is functional objects that also kind of double as pieces of art or decor. One of the coolest new companies is Trask. And I think these are like $30. They make the best gifts. I've given them as gifts to so many people, but they each come with these little holders. And like, is that not the chicest toothbrush you've ever seen? All right, welcome to my bedroom. So I went with this pink because I feel like it went nicely, of course, with the bathroom color. I picked the bathroom color first, but it's actually a little bit of a nod to my studio apartment that I lived in LA. So like I said, one of the many perks of moving back to your hometown and suburbia is it's a little bit more affordable. So when I was in LA, I lived in a studio apartment. Like, I'm not kidding, the whole thing was like the size of this room. I actually had a, what do you call it? I had a Murphy bed. That's how small it was. But it was iconic because I had that little design itch in me from the beginning, and the only thing I really could afford to do was paint the entire studio pink. So I lived in like it was like a 500 square foot pink studio apartment on Ocean Drive, and it was just kind of it was a cool time in my life. So that was lots of fun. This is the first time in my life I've ever really invested in bedding, and it is true what people say. It was worth every penny, really investing in nice sheets. And St. Frank is the maker of the fabrics of the bedding and the pillowcases. All of their stuff is definitely a little bit of a splurge, but so beautiful and really makes the space. Again, with the artwork, this is an amazing artist, Victoria. I think it's pronounced Chamley, but I befriended this artist on socials as well, and this just feels like the most me painting ever. Can't please them all. And what's actually funny is when I posted my room for the first time, the amount of comments on TikTok criticizing the spacing, and I'm not gonna lie, I see it too. They should be a little bit more together, but I'm balling on a budget, and I was working with someone who put them up, and honestly, I'm not gonna pay to move them again. I like them, and I think it's funny because the paintings say, can't please them all, and it was the #1 thing people complained about, but I think it's fabulous. I think they're so cool, and I will have them forever. The wall lights and the art lights are all Amazon, all battery operated. Again, small things that totally elevate the space and make it feel really luxurious, but it's renter and budget friendly. Same thing with these side tables. I had these side tables that I wanted so bad. I think they were from West Elm, but I couldn't do it. So again, it's like highs and lows. I knew I wanted to splurge on that artwork. So these side tables, which are perfect. I think they were from Wayfair or Amazon, but what I'll point out is, again, I feel like I was able to elevate them and really make them work for my space because I switched out the hardware to those gold knobs. So highs and lows, highs and lows. Again, everything is so personalized. There's a wine book next to me over there, and this is a fun little call out. These are real bud vase and ranunculus. These aren't fake, but I do have fake flowers in here. Beware. I already know people are gonna get hate. But I keep every hotel room key that my boyfriend and I stay in over the years in here. As you can tell, very sentimental person, and I just love keeping little things like that. This was put in here out of practicality and functionality. I needed more closet space, but actually what it's turned into is, I think we're all guilty of this. I don't wear so many of the clothes I have just because I forget about them. So each week I try to hang up what I'm gonna wear that week. Otherwise, I will kind of forget about stuff in my closet. So this is super simple, again, from Amazon. And I've got my little Valentine's cardigan I'm probably gonna wear tonight for Galentine's Day. And then over here, this is another little British, it's a collab of shrimps and daisy. I think it is the coolest little jewelry. As you can tell, I love jewelry. I love stacks. And so I thought this was the coolest little jewelry case. And then over there, you'll see when my boyfriend stays, he stays on this side. And so, like I said, we met in London. So all in the details, great pubs of London, and he's a golfer. So golf courses. Like I said, I'm really passionate about all the little details that make up a space and make whoever you're hosting feel more comfortable and loved. And every single space of your apartment or home, in my opinion, is an opportunity to express yourself, but also create a one-of-a-kind experience. Home to me is truly an extension of yourself, and it is a curation of all the things and memories that have made up the person that I am today. And for me, I am so passionate about hosting and community, and I really believe it is your own little world, your own little canvas that you get to invite others into and create a special experience. And for me, I love that my home is a safe place for my friends to come and talk through big life moments. It's where I work. I work from home, so it's also the place that I get a ton of inspiration from. And most importantly, it is a place of gathering and where so many memories are made.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.